How do you have a positive, open mindset while being a person who budgets, coupons, and is frugal? I love this question. Okay, so here is how I view frugality. It's kind of a negative thing. It has been looked at as a negative thing to look for ways that you can save money. And it's kind of, it's been pointed at as cheap, and like that has a very negative connotation. I like to think of it as the more I am able to save, the more abundant I feel. I like getting a good discount. Good discounts and high discounts come to me all the time. Those are kinds of things that I expect. I'm not going to be spending all of my time and energy looking for a coupon code to save 10 cents. So couponing to me has never been worth it. Like extreme couponing, whoever saw that show, I tried it for a month as an experiment in the early days of my blog. It was such a waste of time. It was such a waste of money. It was such a waste of energy, all to save like a grand total of like $10 on food that I typically wouldn't have bought. So my whole thinking is, if finding a way to save makes you feel good, and you're one of the people who loves to say, I got this at a discount, steer into that skid. Absolutely. I have a positive mindset about I will always find a good deal. I will always find exactly what I want on sale. When I bought my car, it's a minivan, obviously. I have too many children. But when we were buying it, we wanted obviously a used car because I think that that's really good. And I had very specific criteria. Like it has to have 3 or 2 rows of seats. It can't have the 2 captain chairs. It has to have an entertainment system. It has to have less than 20,000 miles on it. It has to be newer. It has to. And I was like, this is a really big list. I don't know if I'm going to find it in my price range. Sure enough, I found it and we bought our car very quickly because that was my expectation, is that I knew that it was out there. I was not willing to compromise. This is a big thing, okay? I was not willing to compromise on what I needed. I was willing to wait until it was there. And I knew that it was going to come there. I knew that it was going to show up. I knew it was going to be available to me in that moment when I needed it. And sure enough, it was. Call it manifestation. I don't. I call it a little bit of like a little bit of luck and a lot of perseverance and knowing that it would show up. There is an infinite world of possibilities. People give up new cars every day. People move out of houses every day. People put things on sale every day. There's nothing wrong with looking for a deal and still having a very positive mindset around money. It's never in a way of, I can't afford this. It's in the way of, I want this, but I also want the good deal because I love getting good deals. So that's how I look at it. How do you manage to stay motivated and to stay on track month to month if you are a single parent with no partner to share your journey with? I would find an accountability partner. I would find a friend who you can talk to or somebody else who you can talk to. There are plenty of like mom groups or even accountability groups out there on the internet who can help you to stay motivated and stay on the path that you're working on. I don't talk to, this sounds terrible. I don't talk to like people in real life about money because I know that not everybody cares. I'll talk to my best friend about money because I know that she cares. I know that she and I can be like, oh my gosh, I got this amazing deal. Oh my gosh, I spent way too much money. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that this happened. Like I got an incredible deal. I got a tax refund or whatever it is. I can't believe that I spent this much on Amazon. I'm really struggling. What should I do? I know that I have her and we can go back and forth with each other. And I would definitely find somebody who not just can keep you accountable, but who you know is going to be positive. That's a big, big thing. I really want to stress that because it's not just enough to find somebody who will be like, all right, nice work. You know, that's one thing. It can be hard when you're trying to change your life. And this isn't always the case. So I don't want you to think that like this has to be true for you. But I know that there have been people who I was friends with who, especially like when I started my business, it was kind of like, oh, I'm so glad for you. And like that was the response that I got. And so I knew that I couldn't talk to them. It was frustrating and it's upsetting, but at the same time, I know that there are other people who I can talk to. And it's not like an everyone thing. It's not a, shouting it from the rooftops kind of thing. I really do only have a handful of people who I talk to, who I can confide in. Money can be a really, really tricky subject, and it can bring out some nastiness in people who don't want to see people succeed. That has been what I saw, but I do, again, have a lot of friends who we will cheer each other on all day, every day, forever, if we can. I would find somebody who you can find to be like an accountability partner. How do I get my husband on board with budgeting? So let's talk for 2 seconds here really quick. In case you guys don't know, in our family, I am a saver and my husband is the spender. And if that's what the case is for you, or even if it's not, what I want you to look at is a goal that he can get behind. Something, and sometimes this requires you to kind of shoulder the burden for a period of time until he can see it. So a lot of times what, at least in my experience with my husband, what I saw was that he could not visualize a goal. And if he didn't have a goal with money, so for me, it was just like, we need to save money. He's like, for what? Like, what's the point of saving? Like, I don't get it. I'm not getting anything from saving. I'm getting something from spending. And so we needed to really tap into a goal for him that he could get behind. What I did that I do not recommend to people, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway, because I'm in control of the money, because I take care of all of the finances. What I started to do was I would put $25 a week into a savings account. Before, on payday, I would have it auto withdrawal. So he got paid on Fridays. So on Friday morning, it would auto withdraw that $25 from the checking into savings. And he wouldn't be able to see it. He wouldn't touch it. He would not know that it happened. And then slowly over time, that account grew and grew and grew. And once it had hit, and it wasn't just like $25 a week. It was if he ever worked overtime, if there was any extra money in a week, it would go in there. If there was ever any surprise, like birthday money or something, it would go into that savings account. And by the time that it hit $1,000, I showed it to him. I told him, because this was when we were like, we cannot save. There is no money to save. You get to the end of the work or the end of the week and you're like, I've got 12 cents in my bank account before payday. What's the point of saving 12 cents? That was where we were. And so I changed it. I changed the script. I had to do it myself. I had to put the work on myself. And I knew that explaining to him what I was doing was going to be, he couldn't see the end result. He could not imagine the end result. And so it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter to him. And I knew that. And so again, I do not recommend this. I'm not suggesting to hide money from your spouse. What I am telling you is what I did. And if you have a husband who is similar to mine, this is what I did. Put the money aside into savings. And whenever he would swipe the card, because that was the problem, was the disconnect between I just got paid, so I'll just spend money. I always have money because I'll just spend money. And for him, that was where the disconnect was that he was just spending until the card got declined. And what he wasn't taking into consideration was that we had rent due that week, or the insurance had to get paid, or I needed gas for the car. All of those different things weren't getting taken into consideration. What I did was I took it all, put it aside, and then once it got to $1,000, I showed it to him. And I said, look what we can do. Look what we can do without you even noticing. And obviously, he was pretty ticked off at first. He was like, why would you hide money from me? And I explained it to him. I'm either really intelligent or really ballsy, depending on how you look at it. I don't know. But I explained it to him. I said, this is why I did it. Here's how I did it. Imagine how much we can grow this if you're on board. And then I pitched him with the idea of we could buy a house and use this towards a down payment. We could easily save up to buy a house, to buy a car, whatever it is that your goal is. Go on vacation, to whatever it is, to move out of where you are, to any number of things. Come to him with a goal that he can get behind, that he can visualize, and work towards it together. That is the biggest thing, is you need to find something that connects for both of you. Because once you're both on the same page with moving towards a goal, you'll work twice as fast. You'll be able to work together to pick up steam and momentum. You don't want to keep fighting each other over it. You don't want to keep butting heads over it. There's a lot of like ifs, and I can only really speak from like what worked for me is finding a goal, working towards it with him, and then understanding that everybody has different strengths in a relationship. Everybody has just different strengths personally. And for me, one of my strengths is finances, is handling the money. And I used to expect him to just like wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm going to start a budget and I'm going to write it out and I'm going to balance the checkbook. I used to genuinely expect that from him so that I didn't have to do it. Because in my head, again, talk about limiting beliefs, it was the man is supposed to handle the money. It's literally the opposite of what I teach right now. But that's not changing the fact that if that's where your strength is being the person who can organize moving money and orchestrate it so that nobody even notices that it's happening, so that nobody has to think about it happening. If your strength is there, then steer into that skid. You take control of that area of the finances. Keep him involved as much as he would want to be, or as much as you think would be helpful for him to be. I could tell my husband, I'm like, we have a lot of money in savings, and he just doesn't care. That was kind of the issue, is like if he's at the root of it, if that doesn't mean anything to him, then it'll just fly right over his head. But when I say things like, we can afford to go on vacation this year to the beach, and we can get a house on the beach with a pool, and we can go when we want to, and we can do this, and we can do that. He can see it working. He can see the money actually working. So that worked for me, was to kind of be able to get him on board, get a goal, do my part, and then have him understand, like, I'm not doing this to be a jerk. I'm doing this so that we as a family can have a better life. Once he saw that, he agreed with it completely, and we just kind of went from there.